your energy forecast for Friday, August 18th. So today we have the moon in Virgo again all day. And of course, we've kind of shifted into this Virgo energy shortly after that new moon in Leo peaked. And so we have been and will continue to be in a very grounded, very logical, very practical type of mindset, especially when it comes to processing new thoughts, new ideas, new emotions, new epiphanies. We have a lot to process, a lot to sort through. And of course, the Virgo energy really does focus in on the smaller details of whatever it is that we can improve on, we can kind of grow through, we can really kind of progress and see a different version of. And of course, we should have a lot of material to work with, seeing as we have been illuminated to pretty much nothing but anything that isn't working, anything that isn't supporting and encouraging us to move forward. So this Virgo energy helps us to kind of create a little bit of order out of the inner realm chaos that many of us have been sitting in. Of course, the Virgo energy being an earth sign ruled over by Mercury, there's a lot of mental stimulation, but as long as we're keeping our physical body engaged, especially in tasks and chores that help to kind of clean up and organize our environment, that is all going to help us percolate on some of the thoughts, the ideas, the emotions that we're currently processing. And of course, engaging the physical body, kind of being in that element of exerting energy really does kind of help us put into order and organize a lot of our thoughts and ideas without us really kind of putting that much energy into having to do those particular things. So the Virgo energy, of course, is just looking to fix and solve and heal the problems, the issues. And of course, we have to identify the problems and issues before we can go ahead and come up with a solution for them. So this is where we really want to keep our physical bodies a little bit more engaged in activities that, again, is helping us to see immediate rewards, immediate progress, and therefore in our inner realm, we kind of sort things out without even realizing that we're doing so. So we have another day of that. It's going to be super helpful. We have 9 different aspects here today. 8 of them are going to involve the moon. The moon in Virgo, going to kick things off with a beautiful trine, beautiful interaction with Jupiter. Jupiter, of course, the planet of growth, expansion, beliefs, abundance, and blessings, who's in this Taurus energy until May of 2024. Giving us beautiful opportunities to bust out of our comfort zone, to really grow within ourselves, to really align with new opportunities, to really see where it is that we can reorganize, restructure our physical realms to not only look good, but to feel good as well. Of course, really recognizing where it is that our higher selves are kind of leading us in a different direction, a different path, and we are stepping out of the old self that, of course, created the old world, that, of course, is no longer in alignment with this new version of self. So we're definitely processing that. Now, this is a trine because, of course, Virgo energy is an earth energy, Taurus energy is an earth energy. So we have a harmonization here. We have a gentle nudge in the right direction. And we are definitely in our inner realm, emotionally and mentally speaking, processing the finer details, if you will, on the plan, on the steps, on the strategy needed in order for us to actually move forward, align with these new opportunities, even get an epiphany on what some of these ideas and opportunities could be in our physical realm, and really, again, organize, create order, create a plan, create a strategy on how it is that we're going to progress ourselves in this new path, in this new direction. The moon will then interact with Venus. Venus, of course, the goddess of love, beauty, worth, pleasure, and money, who is still retrograde in this Leo energy, the heart and soul of the zodiac. We reached that halfway mark on the 13th of this retrograde. She was renewed, resurrected, reborn on the 13th with her Kazami, with the sun. We are starting to piece some things together. You should have noticed by now a change in your mood, a change in your attitude, a little bit more aggression where it comes to recognizing the things that aren't working for you and having no problem not only identifying it, but doing something about it, cutting it off or rearranging the energy dynamic, whatever the case may be. We're starting to really put our head and heart together to figure out, again, processing a lot of different elements, what needs to stay and what needs to go, especially where our relationship dynamics are concerned. So the only aspect that isn't involving the moon here today is between Mercury and the North Node. And we love this for a couple of reasons. First of all, Mercury, ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information communication and how it is that we truly express ourselves. He's already in his place of power here in this Virgo energy. Now, granted, he is slowing down because we are in the pre-retrograde shadow period. Again, Mercury will be going retrograde on the 23rd, just as the sun moves into Virgo season. Mercury says, you know what? Slow up. I need to retrace my steps a little bit. So we are going to have that energy kind of kick off. But right now we have Mercury, who also, again, ruler of the moon being in Virgo at this particular point in time, it's going to be interacting with the North Node in Aries energy. So the North Node is our soul path. It's our destiny point. It's the path that we need to get on as of this moment in order to align with our higher selves, reach our soul's potential, our new mission, our new truth, our new purpose. And of course, the North Node being in Aries for the next 18 months is a situation where we need to break free of the team, of the group, of the partnership. We need to return to self. Get grounded, get centered in this new version of self. Put our own wants, needs, and desires before everybody else's. This is our selfish villain era, if you will, by creating boundaries that are going to support our growth, our development, our emotional, mental, and spiritual selves. The villain era comes in because, again, every single time you enforce a boundary, the people around you that are used to taking advantage of your lack of boundaries, they see you as the bad guy. They see you as the one that is quote unquote changing, as if that was a bad thing. This is going to be a tough love life lesson for many of us over the next 18 months. But this particular interaction does suggest that somehow, some way, we are processing things. We are coming up with ideas. We are kind of researching those ideas. We're poking our nose into different variables, really trying to figure out what's going to work for us, what is not going to work for us. This is a positive interaction, which means that even realizing what isn't working for us leads us on a path to arrive at what could work better for us. Regardless, this is an aha moment. This is an alignment in our mental plane of logical and practical alternatives to what it is that we would be preferring over the current situations in which we're currently living that aren't so happy, aren't so, happy-go-lucky, let's say. Now, this means that we are kind of considering what the next step would be, what the next phase would be, what the next chapter would be, what the path, what the direction would be, what the experiences would be. We are seeing a little bit of growth. We are seeing a little bit of improvement, a little bit of an epiphany, if you will, on where it is that we would desire to go from here. And again, much of that is realizing where it is that we do not desire to continue to stay where it is that we're at or go back and experience anything that we've already kind of lived through. So this is a good sign that we are piecing things together. Now, the moon is going to interact with Chiron shortly thereafter because, of course, you can't have too much evolvement and improvement before that dark, egoic programming kicks in, tries to talk you out of all the changes, all the moves that you just realized you should be making. And, of course, Chiron, being the wounded healer in this particular aspect, is going to highlight for us the wounded path versus the healed path. Now let's break this down for just a second. The wounded path would be to continue doing what it is that you've been doing, even though you have no want, need, or desire to continue to do it. You're only doing it because it's tried, tested, and true. It's comfortable, it's familiar, it's predictable. That would be the wounded path. That means that you will have to continue to dim your light, shrink your light, fit into the vessel in which you have been playing safe in order to appear as the version of self that you think your environment needs you to be. The healed version requires you to bust out of the wounds, the trauma bonds, the patterns that are keeping you in this particular version of self, playing small, dimming your light, really using that victimhood mentality to justify not being responsible and accountable for making changes in your life that are going to help you improve and grow. And of course, having these two particular paths be illuminated right now, we're in the heart space, we're in the mind space to really sort it out. to figure out what narrative feels the best for us. And don't be surprised if the wounded narrative actually feels the best. But again, that's only because it is tried, tested, true. It is comfortable. It is predictable. What we need to be doing now is recognizing where it is that we need to break free from some of these constructs. We have to break free from this version of self. We have to break free from these fears, these doubts, these insecurities that are constantly going to have us in a state of paralysis, never growing, never improving, never evolving, never healing. So this is going to be a quote unquote epiphany of a crossroads, of a choice point where we get to see where it is that the wounded path would take us and where it is that the healed path would take us. I hope we all choose the latter. The moon is then going to interact with the North Node in Aries once again. I love this because it's kind of suggests, if we go back to the Mercury and True Node interaction, right? We had an epiphany. We seen where the path forward was going to go. Then the moon kicked in and was like, no, too many fears, doubts, uncertainties, questions for me. This is where we interacted with Chiron. We seen the wounded path. We seen the healed path. Now the moon is like, you know what? Emotionally speaking, let me have a go at the North Node in Aries. Now we're kind of trying to get in alignment with the thoughts, with the ideas, with the epiphanies that Mercury and the True Node had earlier. Now we're trying to get the heart space in alignment. Again, the moon is also in Virgo energy. So there's a lot of analyzing, there's a lot of discernment, there's a lot of recognizing the old programming, conditioning, and narrative. We have the intelligence, the discipline, the awareness to override those programs. And so what we're kind of getting here is an inspiration, a motivation to not let the wounded path be the path that we continue to stay on just because it is more predictable. So this is like a boost in energy, a boost in emotion, a boost in having a aha moment on where it is that we would like to have some new experiences that, of course, is going to require us to bust out of our comfort zone and enter into brand new foreign territory. Now, here's where things get interesting. The moon is going to come up to, conjunct, sit next to, team up with Mercury. They're both in Virgo energy. Okay, let me put another layer on this. The moon in Virgo energy is going to trine, which is a beautiful interaction, with Uranus, the Great Awakener, who is in Taurus energy. Okay, let me put another layer on top of this. The moon in Virgo energy is going to come up to, bump into, conjunct, team up with Mars, the god of war, who rules over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, our desires, even our anger, who is also in this Virgo energy. What are we getting here? Okay, well, let's go back. The moon and Mercury being in alignment, they're on the same page. We're having some thoughts. They're backed by an emotion. This is the first stage of manifesting. The second aspect, the moon trining, beautiful harmonization with Uranus, the Great Awakener, means that we're downloading a higher form of intelligence. We're having aha moments. We're having epiphanies. We're having a spontaneous change in thought, in ideas, in emotion that will lead to a dramatic change, a dramatic transformation. Then we get backed by Mars. Mars is able to be inspired, to be motivated, to really tap into a new willpower, to be determined enough to take action, to make moves in order for us to see things through. Essentially, this little interaction, if you will, is downloading from our higher selves, from the higher realms of intelligence, where it is that we have new ideas, new epiphanies, new inspirations, new intelligence to work with, where we're coming up with new innovative ideas, with new progressive ideas, where it is that we're tapping into a total shift of our head space. Therefore, our heart space is to follow, and then we can engage the physical body because Mars is on board. Our heart and our head are in alignment. That means we can engage the physical body to take action and make moves that will help us rearrange and realign with this new perspective, with this new understanding. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, so the last aspect that we have here today is the moon and the sun coming together in an interaction that will show us where it is that, again, we have another choice point to make. The moon, typically speaking, represents the past. Yes, it's our emotions. Yes, it's our intuition. Yes, it's our unconscious, but all of that programming, all of that conditioning based off of our past experiences. The sun, shining a very bright light in the heart and soul of the zodiac in this Leo energy, represents the future, represents where it is that our egoic self needs to align with a certain excitement, a certain level of inspiration, a new idea, new truth, new mission, new purpose, in order for us to become heart aligned, really pursuing new paths of passion, of desire. So what we're getting here is an overlap. And what the overlap is leaving us in the present moment to understand what it is that we kind of have to close the door on, what we have to cut the cord with, what it is that we have to move away from, create distance from in our past, especially where thinking is concerned, in order for us to align with this new path that is more heart-led. Now, as beautiful as the Virgo energy is, there is limited heart with the Virgo energy because we're all about the intellect. We're all about logical, practical statistics and data. What makes the most sense intellectually based off of our physical realms? Well, emotionally speaking, the Leo energy has us aligning with something that is not tangible yet. We cannot see the evidence in our physical realms of what it is that we're being asked to pursue, but we have this feeling, we have this gut reaction, we have this instinct that we know we have to break out, we have to break free, we have to dance to the beat of our own drum. We need a little bit more independence. We need more space in order to be creative and to truly express this new version of self. So what we're going to be left with is really processing, again, the good from the bad, the highs from the lows, the old from the new, the here from the now, right? We really have to kind of see all of these polarizing, let's say, experiences, options, thoughts, emotions, and really divvy out what is going to work for us, what's going to support us, what's going to encourage us to not stay the same in the, let's say, wounded path that we've been sitting in, and instead to really align with that Leo energy, to be bold and brave and courageous enough to break free and really start dancing to the beat of our own drum.